The native profile provides a lot of advantages in terms of fast performance, smooth animations, and improved access to all device capabilities. However, handling the logical mapping flows for the data between the objects with many-to-many relationships is quite easier in web over native. Because using the activities in nanoflows, these mappings are not supported directly. But don't worry, we can overcome this hindrance by using the upcoming technical solutions in this blog, which is named as Logical Solutions to Reference Set Mappings in Native. As stated already, the mapping of data among the objects under many-to-many relationships are not flexible directly in native over web. Let's see an example. In this sample application, there is a many-to-many relationship between employee and the assignment entity. And in one of the microflow logic calls, we have directly mapped an assignment completely to a new employee. Let's try the same in nanoflow under a native page where we get an error. So, we are going to overcome this scenario by using the first technical solution called mapping of an object to another one. In this section, we have called a nanoflow from the button in this page. And in this nanoflow, it is designed to map an employee with an assignment. Also, it is connected to a JS action call. Here, pass the owner object as employee, reference object as assignment, and finally the reference name as native logics.employee_assignment. And when you pass the reference name, make sure to pass as a string variable. Do you wonder how it's possible? Because this JavaScript action call completely maps an employee with an assignment. Let's see the backend code that we have pre-built using JS. Here, in this code, the input parameters that we gave comes via these arguments. And the main code starts with here. There is a set of checks under if loop and then the codes for mapping. Here, in the first line, it validates whether the owner object has the reference set name same as the one which is coming from the parameter. And in the second line, it checks whether the selector entity of the reference set name which is associated with the owner object is exactly equal to the reference object which is coming via parameter. If the condition passes, the reference object is added to the reference to the owner under the provided reference set name. In our case, in the first line, it validates whether the employee object has the reference set named employee_assignment is same as the one which is coming from the parameter. And in the second line, it checks whether the selector entity called assignment entity of the reference set name known as employee_assignment, which is associated with the employee object, is exactly equal to the reference object which is coming via the parameter. And if the condition gets passed, the reference object will be associated. And yes, in this code that has been mapped to the JavaScript action call, and hence the mapping of an object with many-to-many relationship is achieved in the nanoflow itself using this particular code through the JavaScript action call. Now, let's move to the second solution of achieving the mapping of a list to another object. We have called a nanoflow Now, let us see the third solution, which is setting all the reference to the owner. Here, in this flow, we are trying to override the existing mappings for the particular employee with the assignment list that we are passing here. Let us dig into the code deeply. In this code, it sets all the reference objects in the given reference set name, which is mapped to the owner. Here, it sets all the assignment objects in the past reference set that has been mapped to employee. And hence, the existing assignments to an employee is getting overridden with the assignment list that has been passed. Let's get into the fourth solution, which is retrieving the complete assignments from the owner. Here, we are trying to retrieve the complete assignments from the input employee. Let us dig into the code deeply. Also here, it validates whether the owner object has the reference set name as the one which is coming from the parameter. And in the next code logics, it retrieves the MX object referenced by the reference or the reference set attribute as stores them as GUIDs for the reference and finally returns them. And in our case, the complete assignments for the selected and the past employee has been retrieved and returned using the particular code through the JavaScript action in the NanoFlow. Let's get into the fifth solution, which is removing a reference object from the single one. Here, in this case, we are trying to remove a particular assignment for an employee using the JSAction call. And in this code, it captures the GUID of the reference object name and removes those references under the reference set name, which is mapped to the owner entity. So, in this case, the assignment entity which is selected in the UI is completely removed from the employee. And hence, it is achieved to this code which is connected to the JSAction call via the native profile in the NanoFlow. Let's get into the sixth and the final solution, which is clearing the mappings between the owner and the reference. In this flow, we have mapped a JS call and provided the required parameters to remove all the assignments from the employee and clear the mappings in the reference set. Let's dig into the code deeper. In this code, it just keeps a single check to just validate whether the owner object has a reference set name same as the one which is coming from the parameter. If this single condition passes, it simply clears the mapping associated with the owner using the stated code line. And finally, all the assignments in the reference set is cleared from the employee. So, we have seen 6 sets of logical solutions that overcomes the mapping problem between the object which has many-to-many relationship using custom JS code via JSAction call in the NanoFlows. Let's see the outputs in the UI. In the mobile screen, this will be the home page. On click of Add One Assignment button, a single assignment will be mapped to an employee. The logic will be the same as we have seen for the first solution, which is named as mapping of an object to another one. Number 2. When I click Add Many Assignments will be mapped to the selected employee or this particular employee known as Mark. The logic behind this is the one that we have seen as the second solution named mapping a list to another object. Number 3. On click of Set All Assignments button, the current existing records will be overridden with the newly mapped assignments. The logic behind this is the one that we have seen as a third solution named Set All References to the Owner. Number 4. we can able to see a complete list of assignments which is mapped to the specific employee. The logic behind these is the one that we have seen as a fourth solution, which is retrieve from owner. Number 5. On click of this delete button, a single assignment or the selected assignment will be deleted from the employee called Mark. The logic behind these is the one that we have seen as a fifth solution, which is called remove a reference object from a single. Number 6. On click of clear all mappings button, all the mapped assignments for the particular employee Mark will be deleted. The logic behind these is the one that we have seen as a sixth solution called clear mappings between the owner and the reference. We have seen 6 sets of logical solutions that overcomes the mapping problem between the objects which has many-to-many relationships. So, as how you do easily in web using microflows, you can also able to achieve the same in nanoflows using these logics in native. Thank you.